Good evening, everyone. Sorry for the delay in tapes lately. I've been trying new things. Anyway, let's move on to today's story. Sit back, relax, and try not to sleep.
I was 3 hours behind schedule, white-knuckling the wheel down a stretch of Highway 46 that shouldn't even be on the map anymore. My dispatcher, Ed, had rerouted me last minute. Some accident blocked the main interstate, and this old back road was the only detour. My gut told me to find another way, but I didn't have the time. Freight waits for no man. It was just past 2 a.m. when the radio fizzled out. Dead static, then silence. Not even country stations reached out here. I was alone, rolling through black hills and sharp turns, high beams slicing through thick fog that crept across the pavement like something alive. My eyelids dragged like sandbags every time I blinked. I'd been driving for nearly 14 hours with only a 30-minute rest stop outside Fresno. I don't remember pulling back onto the road. Don't remember the coffee or the cashier's face. That's how it starts, when sleep starts slipping away. You forget the edges of time, like they've been dissolved in acid. The road narrowed to a 2-lane scar that ran through empty farmland, trees leaning like spectators. Then I saw her. At first, just a flicker, like a glitch in my headlights. A child, standing on the shoulder. She was facing away from me, wearing a tattered white dress, barefoot. Still. The kind of still that makes your skin tighten, like the world forgot to breathe. I swerved hard, tires screeching. She vanished the moment I passed. I pulled over, heart thudding in my throat, and threw on the hazard lights. Fog swirled past the windshield, mocking me. I checked the mirrors. Nothing. I stepped out, gravel crunching under my boots. The air was colder than it should have been in late summer. "Hey!" I called into the dark. "You okay out here?" No answer. Just the low hum of my engine and the wind pushing through dead grass. I waited 5 minutes. 10. No sign of her. I told myself it was a hallucination, sleep deprivation playing tricks. Got back in and kept rolling. Didn't make it 10 miles before I saw her again. This time, she was in the middle of the road. I slammed the brakes, screamed. But when the truck stopped, there was no impact, no body. Just a patch of frost where the heat of the tires should have left none.
I didn't step out this time. Didn't even turn off the ignition. I just muttered every curse I knew and floored it. My hands shook on the wheel. I wasn't religious, but I found myself muttering a prayer I barely remembered from childhood. Just a dream, I told myself. You're overtired, hallucinating. Body's begging for sleep. I kept driving. And for the next hour, I didn't see her. No glitches in the headlights. No frozen breath on the dash. I started to believe it really had been a trick of the mind. Then I looked in the rearview mirror. She was sitting in the back seat of the cab. No sound, no movement. Just staring at me with wide, glassy eyes. I swerved so hard, the rig nearly tipped. When I turned around, she was gone. I pulled over, shut off the engine, and stumbled out. Threw up by the side of the road. My head spun with exhaustion and adrenaline. My chest burned. I couldn't tell what was real anymore. I don't know how long I stood there, gasping for air in the dark. But when I climbed back into the cab, there were 2 wet footprints on the passenger seat.
I didn't drive for a while after that. I just sat in the cab, engine idling, staring at those 2 wet footprints. They were small, no bigger than a child's, and perfectly formed. The water hadn't smeared. No signs of running, walking, or scrambling. Just 2 neat ovals, as if she'd simply appeared. I reached over slowly and touched one. It was cold. Too cold. I dried the seat with my jacket and lit a cigarette. Even though I quit 2 years ago, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. I figured nicotine was better than a nervous breakdown in the middle of nowhere. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe I was hallucinating. Microsleeps can do that. Your brain slips into dream mode for seconds at a time. You see things, hear voices. It's not real. That had to be it. But I couldn't forget the sound of her breathing behind me. 13 seconds. That's how long I heard it. Slow, shallow breaths before I found the courage to look back. Nothing there. I restarted the GPS, but the screen just blinked red. No signal. Of course, I was out in the Badlands where reception dies and weird things grow in the silence. I didn't even know if this road connected to anything anymore. I kept going. The fog got thicker, denser, like I was driving through a graveyard of clouds. The yellow stripes on the road had almost disappeared, swallowed up by time and decay. Trees pressed in closer, arcing over the road like twisted fingers. At some point, I realized I hadn't passed another car in over 2 hours. No headlights, no taillights. Just me, my truck, and the thing I kept telling myself wasn't real. But I could still smell her. You ever smell something that doesn't belong? Something too clean? That sterile, sweet scent like a hospital nursery. That's what it was. Baby powder and plastic. And under it, something faintly rotten. Like milk that had sat in the sun just a little too long. My CB radio crackled suddenly. "Don't stop," a voice said. Just that. A whisper, barely audible. I froze. "Who is this?" I barked, grabbing the mic. Static. Then silence. The voice didn't come again. I looked down at the radio, and my blood turned to ice. The damn thing had been off the entire time. Power knob turned all the way down. I slammed it off the dash. The plastic cracked, and it went dead for good. My eyes burned. My throat was dry. I was grinding my molders so hard I thought they'd crack. I turned the heater on low, trying to feel something normal. Then I saw her again, standing beside a rusted sign half buried in the grass. Widow's Mile, next exit. She didn't move, just stood there, head slightly tilted, one arm raised like she was hailing a ride. I didn't stop, but the engine sputtered anyway. Dashboard lights blinked red. Fuel gauge dropped from a third full to empty in seconds. The truck slowed. Died. I coasted to the shoulder. Nothing but pine trees and dead silence. I tried the ignition. Nothing. Tried again. Just a click. Like the truck itself was holding its breath. I reached for my flashlight, opened the door, and stepped out into the night. The moment my boots hit gravel, I heard the laughter. Light. childlike, right behind me. I spun, light shaking in my hand. No one there. I circled the truck, checked the engine. Nothing visibly wrong, but when I opened the driver's door to get back in, she was sitting in the front seat, face turned toward me.
Pale, expressionless, eyes like two pits filled with ink. My flashlight flickered and died, and she whispered, "You should have stopped the first time." The flashlight dropped from my hand and rolled under the cab, its dead bulbs staring into nothing. She didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even breathe, just sat there, hands folded neatly in her lap, like a child waiting for the school bus. Her dress, once white, was now stained, mud, grease, and something darker around the hem. Her skin looked too thin, too pale, like it had been soaking under water for far too long. I stepped back, tripped, fell into the gravel with a grunt, heart slamming against my ribs like it was trying to break out of me. And when I looked back up, she was gone again. Cab empty, no footprints, no foggy breath on the windshield, just silence and my own ragged breathing. I sat there in the dirt, hands in my hair, fighting the urge to scream. The road ahead was pitch black, not a star in the sky. It felt like the world had gone on without me and left me behind in a pocket of something older. I didn't dare sleep. I climbed back into the truck and locked the doors, turned the key again out of sheer desperation. It started. The engine hummed to life like nothing had ever happened. No error lights, no sputtering. Fuel gauge, 1/3, exactly where it was before. I slammed the gear shift and pulled back onto the road, adrenaline pushing me faster than I should have gone. I just wanted to get off this cursed highway. No more detours, no more ghost children, no more whispers in the dark. Then I passed the sign again. Widow's Mile, next exit. Same spot, same bent pole, same rusted bolts. But I had already passed it 10 miles ago. I was sure of it. My GPS flickered to life for just a second, glowing green and glitching. Route error, you are here. The map didn't show a road, just a black void, and the words, "You are here," floating in the middle of nowhere. I jerked the wheel to take the Widow's Mile exit. Didn't care where it went anymore. I couldn't keep looping this hell road with her showing up in mirrors and seats and signs. The exit ramp was narrow, broken. Grass grew through the asphalt like veins on brittle skin. As soon as I turned onto it, the air changed. Heavier, damper, like the inside of a root cellar. The fog thickened again, pressing up against the windshield like it wanted in. And then I saw them. Dozens of them. Children. Lining both sides of the road. Boys, girls, all dressed in old clothes. 1950s, 1960s, some even older. Dirty, torn, eyes sunken, mouth slack. Not one moved, not one blinked, just watched as I drove past at a crawl, too stunned to breathe. Some held toys, others held nothing, but all of them had the same vacant stare. And at the front of the group was her. Same girl, pale, black-eyed. But this time, she was smiling. I don't remember how long I drove after that. I just remember the road narrowing, then curving sharply into a clearing I hadn't seen on the GPS. A wide circle of gravel, overgrown with weeds and surrounded by dense trees. At the center was an old wooden house, rotting, sunken, windows boarded up, roof caved on one side. My headlights caught a sign nailed to the fence. Widow's End. No exit. I stopped the truck, turned the key. The engine cut out instantly. No sputter, no whine, just gone. The radio turned on by itself. A child's lullaby played, warped and off-key. Then the driver's side door opened by itself. And I swear to God, a small hand took mine. I couldn't move. Her hand was ice, thin fingers curling gently around mine like twigs wrapped in frost. Not forceful, not pulling, just holding. The lullaby from the radio looped, each warped note crackling through the static like it was played on broken music box teeth. It should have felt like a dream, but everything was too sharp. The cold stung. The gravel cut into my knees as I stumbled out of the cab, and the air reeked of mildew and something older, like rotting paper and damp wood. The girl looked up at me. She didn't speak. Didn't have to. Something in her eyes told me what she wanted. The house. She let go of my hand and walked toward the decaying building, her bare feet silent against the rocks. The rest of the children, the ones I passed on the road, stood just beyond the tree line, watching, waiting. I called after her, voice cracking, "What do you want from me?" She didn't stop, didn't turn, just stepped through the broken gate and disappeared into the dark of the house. The silence that followed was unbearable. Not even crickets, not even wind. Just the faint creak of an unseen swing somewhere nearby. I told myself to leave, get in the truck, drive until I hit daylight or ran out of road. But my legs had other plans. I followed her. Each step toward the porch felt like sinking into ice water. My breath fogged in the air. My boots stuck slightly to the warped wood as I climbed the steps, like the house didn't want to let me go once I touched it. The door was already open. Inside, the house was bigger than it looked. Wide halls that curved like old arteries, wallpaper peeled in long strips like dead skin. Water dripped steadily from a broken light fixture overhead, though I saw no pipes, no power. But there was light, faint, flickering, coming from upstairs. I climbed the steps slowly, gripping the rail that groaned under my weight. That's when I heard it. Whispers. Children whispering, dozens of voices overlapping in a soft, pleading murmur. She doesn't let us leave. We just wanted to go home. She watches us from the walls. My head spun. I reached the top and turned down a narrow hall. The light came from the last door on the left. It was cracked open. A warm yellow glow spilled into the hallway like something from a dream. I could hear the lullaby again. But this time it wasn't from a radio. It was being sung. Soft. Off-key. By the girl. I pushed the door open. Inside was a child's room. Clean. Untouched by time. Pink wallpaper. Dolls lined up perfectly on shelves.
A mobile spun slowly from the ceiling, its stars casting long shadows, and there she was, sitting on the bed, hands folded, smiling. Behind her, the walls pulsed. At first I thought it was the light playing tricks, but no, the walls were breathing.
Swelling. Exhaling. Faint faces pressed against the wallpaper from the inside. Mouths moving silently. Eyes wide with fear. Children. Dozens of them. Their hands scratched faintly against the inside of the wall, as if they were trapped beneath its surface like wallpaper themselves. The girl stood. "Now you understand," she said, voice small but ancient. I stumbled back. No, I'm not part of this. I didn't do anything." She walked toward me. "You came when no one else would. You saw us. That means you're part of it now." I turned and ran. I didn't care how tired I was, didn't care how unreal this was. Down the stairs, through the hallway, but the front door was gone. Just more hallway, more rooms, and behind me, soft footsteps, getting closer. Then the whispers returned, louder now, begging me to run, even though there was nowhere left to go. I don't remember how long I ran. The house wouldn't end.
Every hallway led to another, every room connected to itself. Windows showed nothing but fog. No moon, no trees, no road, just endless gray. The walls pulsed with breath I couldn't hear. Faces pressed against the wallpaper now followed me, tracking me like eyes behind oil paper. And always, those footsteps. Light, bare, careful. She never ran. She didn't have to. My boots echoed through the rot, thudding over warped boards and loose nails. I scraped my shoulder on a low beam, felt something wet, blood maybe, or water from the ever-dripping ceiling. I didn't stop to check. At some point, I reached a stairwell I hadn't climbed, spiraling downward, stone instead of wood. The air here changed again, heavier, like breathing under deep water. A low hum vibrated in my teeth, and the whispers stopped. Only one voice remained now. Hers. I didn't want to stay either. I didn't answer. Just kept descending. 13 steps. That's all it was. But I swear to you, it took hours. At the bottom was a door made of metal, rivets rusted over, a porthole set in the center, too grimy to see through. I tried the handle, cold and slick, but it opened without resistance. Inside was a room of mirrors. Dozens of them, floor to ceiling, old, dusty, cracked, some warped from age, some brand new. They didn't show me. They showed her. In every single one.
A little girl in a white dress, standing in the middle of the room, but not reflected directly. Each mirror showed her doing something different. Smiling, crying, screaming, clawing at the glass. And in the one nearest me, she was staring at me. Then she stepped forward from the reflection, and I stepped back. My boot struck something hard, A small wooden toy box sat behind me, painted pink, peeling. I opened it. Inside were tiny shoes, a lock of hair tied with a red ribbon, and a newspaper clipping. Tragedy strikes Highway 46. Truck driver charged in hit-and-run fatality of local child. There was a picture. It was me. You ever feel your own mind break? Not like in movies. No screaming, no collapsing. Just silence. Like a balloon finally giving up. I backed away, whispering "no" over and over. My hands trembled. Then she was there, right in front of me. No reflection. Real. "You didn't even stop," she said. I fell to my knees. I never hit anyone. I would have known. I would have. "You looked away. You kept driving. And you never came back." The house shook. The mirrors cracked all at once. A high, piercing wail like every trapped child screamed together. The walls bled light. The floor crumbled beneath me. I was falling. And then I woke up, slumped over the wheel of my truck, parked on the shoulder of Highway 46. It was morning, light creeping through the fog. The fuel gauge read full. The radio was off. The seat beside me, empty. I stumbled out, fell to the gravel, crying, breathing, alive. And on the road behind the truck, half buried in the gravel, were two small footprints. I called the cops, told them everything, even the part that made me sound insane. They searched, found nothing. No house, no clearing, no mirrors. But one officer remembered the story. From almost 20 years ago, a little girl hit near that bend. The driver never stopped. They never caught him. I was still in high school back then. But the nightmares haven't stopped since that night. I drive with a dash cam now. Sleep more, talk less. And every time I pass that old stretch of road, I slow down. Because sometimes I still see her on the shoulder, hand raised, waiting.